Hi, Scott Orlin with CINEMA-Magazin. The movie film stars don't die in Liverpool, but in Los Angeles they're alive and well in the shape of Jamie Bell. Congratulations.
Thank you.
When you see this movie, you're gonna go, God, how fictitious, what a wild, crazy story, and yet it really happened. As an actor, how much did you really have to immerse yourself in the reality of the story to make it more than just a leap of faith?
Well, I think, you know, in meeting with Peter Turner, who's the character that I play, it became very clear very quickly just how much he adored this woman and their kind of fantastical ride that they went on. So that, more than anything, was the thing that really grounded this character for me. Was you just have to love her, you have to adore her. It's his most important relationship that he's ever had. And seeing that and talking to him and seeing how fresh it still is and how vividly he would remember these things, it just kind of brought it all home to me that this is someone's life, and it meant the world to him.
But that's so ironic that you're saying this, because basically if you take it out of the context of Gloria Grahame and Peter, you and Annette Bening, here was you're a younger actor, she's an older actress, you admire her, you get to work with her, you get to know her.
Right.
How serendipitous was that, to have that experience of going through this with Annette?
Yeah, I think whenever you're kind of drawing from things that aren't too far away from the reality, I think it's always kind of slightly easier to tap into all that stuff. But certainly I had the same reverence going in of Annette Bening that I'm sure Peter Turner did of Gloria Grahame. You know, she's a phenomenal actress. I was very intimidated at the thought of working with her, because I felt there's no way that I'm going to be on par with someone who has such experience, you know. But more than anything with Annette, what we established very quickly is a sense of trust and a sense of having each other's backs. And when you play roles where you have to have you know, an intimacy that you share together, it's very important that you trust each other, and you know that if you want to push things further in scenes, that you have the support of the other person. We share a very similar sense of humor, and we had a great time.
I have to admit, and maybe for a lot of the people in Germany that are going to be watching this, I've never heard of Gloria Grahame before. I had no idea that this woman, not only was she an important actress and worked with a lot of great people, she won an Academy Award. So how much of a learning curve was it for you?
Yeah. No, when I received the script, I had no idea who Gloria Grahame was. I certainly didn't know who Peter Turner was either. So there was a little bit of going online and checking it out. And when I saw her face, I was like, who else could play this other than Annette Bening? I mean, they actually look very similar to one another. But I didn't do a huge amount of research on her, because what I wanted to replicate was Peter's experience of meeting someone and not knowing who they were. This film is set in the 70s and 80s, and IMDb certainly wasn't invented, Google certainly wasn't invented. So there's a purity to that in their relationship, which is, it's non-judgmental. They're going into it seeing a human being for who they really are, and those kinds of relationships on screen are kind of very few and far between now, because there's always the excuse of, well, why doesn't he just look her up online? But they didn't have that luxury. I think the relationship, when it's born out of something so pure, is really beautiful.
And speaking of relationships, the last question for you. Your very first film, which a lot of people love, Billy Elliot,
Yes.
co-starred a particular actress named Julie Walters.
That's right.
Movie film Stars Don't Die in Liverpool stars a particular actress, Julie Walters. How intriguing was that for you, this bookend part of your career, to have this same woman be part of these two movies?
Yeah, it's fascinating. When they said that they were going to get Julie for that role, in my mind, I was like, is that too much? Is this such a callback that it's going to be distracting? But for me, it was a real opportunity as a grown man, as an adult, to see how much she is revered by actors, filmmakers, crew of the movie. You know, she's such a national treasure in England. People often kind of, you know, think of her as a relative, as a kind of aunt or something, and they just want to hug her. But it was beautiful. I mean, it was a great reunion. I am slightly taller than her now, which I think is a good thing, because I haven't grown a huge amount. But she's a wonderful actress, and I'd work with her again in a heartbeat if I could.
Well, Jamie, as always, such a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations on the movie.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
This is Scott Orlin. Till next time.